like it is recording. Okay. Yes, so where everyone raise your hand, please, if you've done your health check and you passed. Okay, Will's become muted again.
Wait, he raised his hand.
Okay, we're good. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is a podcast, I think. We are GameBusters. This is a podcast from GameLuster.com, and we are coming to you live from Zencastr, which is a new thing we're trying. So yeah, we are. We're kind of looking into the future. We got 1 foot in the future and 1 foot pointed towards the metaverse. Because today we are going to be talking about Persona 5. I want to upfront say that we are going to be focusing on Persona 5. We are going to have a separate Persona 4 episode later, and possibly one for Persona 3 as well. But yeah, so let me introduce everybody. So Ree is actually off today because she is actually just getting started on playing Persona 5 for the first time and didn't want to get spoiled right before going in, which I totally get. I want to say up front also, this will be full-on spoilers for Persona 5. We're going to try to stay off of story spoilers for Royal, though. Okay, so yeah, today with me we have the returning Persona champion, Kate.
Hi, I'm Kate, and yes, you did hear someone say delicious pancakes.
Oh, that was good, yeah. Elizabeth, do you have some sort of a catchphrase?
No, I don't. I'm just here.
Okay. And we have someone new with us at GameLuster. Will, why don't you introduce yourself real quickly? Say a little bit about yourself, because I don't think people know you here yet.
Okay, so I am Will. I've been a writer for a while now, a big JRPG fan, and got into Persona 5, in the last year, and loved it to bits. So excited to be here on the podcast. And I love pancakes.
Okay, I think that's everything anyone would ever need to know.
I hope so.
All right, so so yeah, let's go ahead and jump off. So, Will, have you listened to any of our previous episodes yet?
I went back and listened to the Resident Evil special, and good lord, the science plots in that one had me. Some of the stories I heard from various games had me in tears of both joy and confusion.
Yeah. And in the case of such things, they often go hand in hand. But everybody, welcome to the
podcast.
Hall of. Oh yeah. So yeah, we are headed to the Hall of Fameluster. Again, if you haven't been with us in a little while, we are located on the Majora's Mask moon. Things are going well. We have funding from Elon Musk, and we were able to use that to buy a portion of the moon. And yeah, things are going well. Stitch from Lilo and Stitch is actually sort of become the curator of the Hall of Fameluster, just for the sake of really being the only one who's able to survive up there.
Good for him. I support that.
How close is the moon to crashing into the Earth at this given moment?
It's actually pretty far off.
Is our building safe?
I think that the building is safe right now. I think what we might do is sort of like have a thing where there's like where like maybe something big is going to be happening, and we sort of just count down to it, with like days until we crash into the Earth.
3 days.
Yeah, we'll have 3 days. Yeah, so everyone, the Hall of Fameluster this week, we're going to try to find the most stylish villain. So everybody, and I just for a future reference, if I don't say like video game, it can pretty much be from anything, but like, so this can be a stylish villain from really any sort of media, but they got to be stylish. So we'll go and kick it off with Kate. Kate, who did you bring with you?
There are so many answers that it's literally killing me not to give right now. But I have brought with me the ultimate fashionista, Junko Enoshima from Danganronpa.
Oh, wow. Why did I not even think of that?
I think Junko is the correct answer. I think there is a correct answer, and it is Junko.
Her title.
Yeah, it might be the right answer.
Stylishly. So, she is a villain. She is known the world over for her style. What more do I need to say here?
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, I feel like a fool. Elizabeth, who do you have?
I've brought King Richard Windor from Tales of Graces. You're probably gonna have to Google
I'm gonna
a
need a
picture
visual
of him.
aid, yeah.
Yeah, hang on, let me get one.
He looks like Howl from Howl's Moving Castle before Howl dyed his hair.
That was pretty stylish.
Hang on, let me grab you a picture. Because
Yeah,
I gotta rep Tails games. I gotta do it.
Yeah, no, I mean there aren't that many other people who are gonna do it. You got to do it.
No, it's gotta be me. Hang on, let me get you a picture.
So the
There you
is
go.
this is a king? Okay,
He's a
all
king.
right. So the image I'm looking at, yeah, it does feel a little bit Howl's Moving Castle. This is a stylish character. I will grant you that. I like the contrast of the colors. This palette works for me. I like
blue and orange is working.
Yeah, he's rocking it. Okay, and Will, who did you bring?
I mean, I feel woefully under-equipped now that I've had a look at the other two, but I went with some kind of classic Gothic style. I went Dracula from the Castlevania series because I feel
okay.
A fine-looking man.
I know. It was hard for me because I feel like even though he's a stylish villain, he's not always even the most stylish person in his own games, basically. But I mean, he gets shown up by his own son at times, but I still think he's rocking his looks the whole way through that series.
You have to inherit that fashion sense from someone.
That's true.
Absolutely. Okay. I have elected to bring with me from The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword my friend Girahim.
Ooh, nice.
Who is I think he's pretty stylish. I don't know if I think he more just exudes the style because he keeps looking at Link and like licking his lips with his big tongue. And it's unsettling. But I do love his flamboyant clothes and his big dances. Yeah, so I'll put him in here. Man, I feel like shit. All right. Kate, where are your votes going?
Oh man, I mean, obviously I'm gonna vote for myself because I think I displayed incredible self-restraint in not bringing any of my actual favorite villains.
Hey, I thought Junko was one of your favorite villains.
Oh, she is. Just, I didn't bring the one who is literally the first thing to show up if you Google image search Trash Jesus.
Trash Jesus.
Do it! Google image search Trash Jesus.
Everyone do it at home. Play along.
And he does, in fact, actually show up. Anyway, I'm going to vote for Junko, and I am going to vote for the pretty Howl's Moving Castle man.
Wow, the first thing that shows up is a garbage bag that has the words on it. Jesus did not die for trash. Yeah. And then the next picture is Arden Azunia from Final Fantasy 15.
I told you! I said Google Trash Jesus!
When I Googled it, it automatically tried to add Arden to the front of the search.
Okay, come on. This is the freaking Persona 5 episode. We can talk about Caitlyn.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, so Kate, where was your second vote going?
To the pretty... Elizabeth, what's your guy's name?
King Richard.
His name's King Richard, yeah.
Yeah, I vote for him. He looks pretty. He's like Howl.
He does look pretty. All right. Elizabeth, where are your votes?
Mine are also going to Junko and Richard.
Hey!
Okay. I have to vote for Junko, man.
Yeah, I'm... Okay, ooh. Will, where are your votes going to go? You have 2 votes.
I'm going to throw... Obviously, I'm going to have to go one for Junko, but I'm going to have to go for... Girahim. The tongue does it for me.
Yeah.
The tongue is the opposite for me. No thanks, I'm good.
I honestly don't know. I'm definitely giving one for Junko. I want to show. I'm trying to decide. I'm gonna give one to myself because I'm greedy.
Go for it.
I need an ego boost today. But yes, of course, Junko Enoshima, the ultimate fashionista / the ultimate despair, who's both of those things, and I didn't think of her, is of course our winner.
Junko was my immediate thought.
Yeah. So welcome Junko to the Hall of Fameluster. I don't know if she's gonna survive long up here either. We haven't figured out the oxygen situation is the problem. We keep inducting people into the hall, and they keep. Nature is killing them. I think we've had to say for legal reasons.
Why don't we make the hall like a Madame Tussauds kind of wax museum where we induct people, but it's like a wax statue of them.
Oh yeah, everyone's gonna come. No, what am I saying? Of course, everyone's gonna come look at us a wax statue of Junko Enoshima. Of course they are.
I think this was the best week to get wax statue.
Nirav, you do have to understand that they do have to make it to the moon first.
I don't know.
And
I've been looking
survive
at
on the
Reddit.
moon.
It seems like we're well on the way to the moon. I keep
Apparently,
saying to the moon.
We're all going at some point.
Actually, well, this
Space
moon is rapidly approaching Earth, so
No, space travel canonically exists in the Danganronpa universe because in Danganronpa 3 there's an ultimate astronaut. Ergo, they must have invented space travel in their
oh
universe.
my god, I didn't know that.
I mean, I guess they did. I can't argue with that. Okay, great.
course there
Welcome, Junko. Let's get out of here.
We don't want
God.
to spend any more time with Junko than we have to.
All right, welcome everybody to Bustums. This is our main segment. We are actually talking about Persona 5 today. I keep forgetting to change the whole thingy. Yes. So, if anyone's not familiar with Persona 5, I don't know how you found this podcast. First of all, I don't know what cross section of society you're from. But it is a JRPG from Atlas, which is a Japanese studio, and it's a big deal. It's a huge award-winning series, pretty critically acclaimed. It's not a big seller. I found out today. I thought it sold more copies. Didn't sell a lot of them.
Really?
Yeah, I learned that the other day. I follow
Yeah.
Atlas's Twitter, and they were like, Persona has sold I think it was 400. Persona 5 has sold 400,000 copies. And I'm like, only 400,000?
Huh.
It's more than that now, but it's it's not. They're not doing great. Which is why we'll get to the Sega acquisition though. All right, so I'm just gonna do a brief look back through how the series got started with the Megami Tensei franchise and everything. So this Persona, for those of you who don't know, is just one aspect of the huge juggernaut in Japan that is the Shin Megami Tensei franchise, which has a lot of points. But yeah, they started back with their first game in 1987 called Digital Devil Story: Megami Tensei, that came out on PC and NES, which is dope. Digital Devil Story is a really cool name for a game.
That's a dope title.
It's also a really cool name for a band.
Oh, it would be. So just for reference, Megami Tensei means rebirth of the goddess, if anyone's curious. So in 1990, Megami Tensei 2 came out, and then a spin-off of that game called Shin Megami Tensei came out in 1992. The word Shin just means true or real. And so
Or new.
in reality,
like Shin Godzilla.
yeah,
Also
okay,
mean
fair enough.
new.
Yeah, that's what I thought in this context.
What I'm thinking, what I was thinking was can you imagine if Banjo-Kazooie came out and then 2 years later the same people released a game called Real Banjo-Kazooie?
Yeah,
Wasn't
I
that
really
what
like how they're
Ukulele was?
this is the spin-off, but it is the real one. This is it.
Yeah, so like I said, this one's called Shin Megami Tensei, is the spin-off that kind of kicked it off. So the two Megami Tensei games that came out first were barely popular enough to consider making another one. Shin Megami Tensei really did hit it off, and as far as being a JRPG in 1992, it did pretty good numbers. These games were pretty much just visual novels that were interspersed with turn-based combat. But yeah, Shin Megami Tensei really began to make a name. People might have heard of this before. So in 1995, they made a spin-off of that game called Shin Megami Tensei What If. So we're 2 spin-offs deep.
Okay,
now.
I was like, how many
with me.
spin-offs deep are we? 2.
Stay with
Put a
me.
spin-off
God,
in your spin-off.
we haven't even got
Make
to the
a
Persona
spin-off
spin-offs
section.
yet.
No, we haven't yet. So in Shin Megami Tensei's What If, which I guess was Marvel also did later, they put all the characters and the mechanics into a high school setting. So this game then was spun off into a game called Revelations: Persona. So this game is retroactively just called Persona 1 or just Persona. But this game is set in the town of Mikage-cho, and it follows a group of high school students from St. Hermelin High who are forced to confront an outbreak of demons. So pretty good starting point for the Persona series, I think. That sounds right. Followed up by this was Persona 2 Innocent Sin, set in the coastal city of Sumaru. The story follows Tatsuya Suo, a student of the Seven Sisters High, as he confronts phenomena generated by reality-altering rumors. And then there was a direct sequel to that game called Persona 2 Eternal Punishment. which was set right after the ending of Innocent Sin and follows a different character from the previous game.
They went
Nirav,
So-
really hard for
Nirav,
those
why are you
titles.
mentioning the only important thing about Persona 2 Innocent Sin?
What is that?
You fight Hitler and he wears sunglasses.
I was going to ask if anyone wanted to talk
Add
about
that
it.
to my replay list.
Could you? Yeah. So has anyone played Persona 2?
I've been
Yep.
meaning to, but I haven't yet.
You have, Kate, you said?
I have.
All right. Could you tell me a little bit about it just briefly?
Well, most of the game, it uses a rumor system where you can decide to make certain rumors true or not, and the ones that you make true do everything from getting you extra items, to making combat easier or harder, to ultimately resurrecting Hitler to fight against, because you can spread a rumor that a lost, Nazi battalion was frozen in your town.
Wow. So is this a situation where I go to my friend and I'm like, hey, did you hear I have 3 max potions in my inventory?
Pretty
And
much,
then they
actually,
appear.
yes.
That's very good. I like that a lot. So this was followed up by Persona 3, of course, which was their first actual hit. This one made it pretty big in Japan and actually made it fairly big over in the West, and it was the first one to really make it over to the West and brought the whole Megame Tensei series with it. So this story takes place in the town of Iwatadai. I think I'm saying that right.
Iwatadai.
Following Iwatadai, following a group of students known as the Seas, and they fight monsters that appear during a time known as the Dark Hour. This is a very dark game, and I'm pretty sure I haven't played this one, but I've seen a lot of it. I think there's a lot of shooting yourself in the head with a gun.
Yeah, there sure is.
Yeah. So do you want to tell us about this one a little bit quickly?
Elizabeth, go.
Oh, me. Okay. Yeah, so it does follow the particular Persona formula. This is I think where the Persona formula really started. I want to say this is the one that introduced social links.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And man, what do I have to say about Persona 3 without spoiling it?
There's music.
Oh yeah, music is very good. Was this the one that started with Lotus Juice too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Persona 3 was
Burn
the
my
big,
bread!
Yeah, I want to say Persona 3 really kind of solidified what the series is going to become by the time Persona 5 rolls around.
Yeah.
Right. If you were somebody who played Persona 5 and you're like, I want to play the older ones and see how we got here, really you probably just need to play 3 and 4.
Yeah.
1 and 2 are great and they do exist, but they are a whole different animal, you know?
Yeah,
Really,
I want
the
to play
only
Persona 2, but I'm
similarity
really
is the high
daunted
school
by
setting.
the battle system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kate, what did you say?
The only thing that you really have in common is that they're all in a high school setting, so all
Sure.
Persona games are set in a high school, which I don't know if it was necessarily the best choice in Persona 5, because you have a bunch of internationally famous Phantom Thieves that we're supposed to believe are somehow also high school students.
Yeah, dude.
I
They
mean,
do a
some
good
of the
job
demons
managing
are the
their
same
studies.
throughout the series, the Personas.
Yeah.
But those are the same in SMT too.
Yeah.
Like
and we'll get
Mothman.
there.
Mothman's the best one.
And Mara!
Oh no, Mars the worst one.
And we're gonna find out in our Time for Games segment how well you do remember those personas. Okay, so we get to Persona 4, released in 2008 on PS2 in Japan and the US, and then a little bit later in Europe. This was remastered and added cut content into Persona 4 Golden, and they. I read a little bit about this. Persona 4 Golden added some stuff that they wanted to put in the original, but due to hardware limitations, couldn't get in there. So yeah, that's the one to play for sure. And it came to PC via Steam in 2020. Yay!
Since we're talking about Golden, I do want to mention Persona 3 had that too. They had a Persona 3 FES that added an extra post game segment.
Yeah, and then Persona 3
Persona
also
3 Portable
had Persona 3 Portable,
Yep,
where you could play as a female protagonist. Yeah. And they never did it again.
Yeah, they never did it again. She's the only one in the series.
Persona 4 sort of started out the trend of a million spin-offs because we got 2 fighting games and a dancing game, and a lot of the main characters appear in other fighting games that aren't Persona, like BlazBlue Cross Tag Battles.
Well, yeah, now they have their models. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, now they can do whatever the fuck they want. So in Persona 4, there's a rural town called Inaba, and there's a group of students that investigate a bunch of killings, and there's a bunch of fog, and then there's the Midnight Channel, and then Teddy's there. You know, we'll get to it though. So yeah, like I said, we'll do a separate episode on Persona 4 because there's definitely enough to carry an episode in there.
It'll just be me talking for an hour about how nice Inaba is to visit.
All right, so we're at Persona 5. We made it. All right. Wow, this is it's only 20 minutes in. This is so much faster than we normally get here.
We speedrun it.
So development began. So what I'm going to do, is just kind of talk about the development and history. And you guys can interject if you have any thoughts on stuff. And then we'll kind of get to the themes, the story, the characters, how we feel about stuff after that.
Cool, man.
So development began under Atlus's in-home studio in 2011, and they were developing for the PS3 right after finishing the game Catherine. Real quickly, has anyone played Catherine?
No, I only know the collected edition comes with underpants.
Not my kind of game.
It didn't really look like my kind of thing either. It looks like, I don't know if I understand correctly, you jump up a bunch of boxes and then like a lot of women want to have sex with you?
Yeah, that's how, from what I know, that's pretty much it.
All right. Sounds good. Anyway, some people swear by that game, but I think they're also weird people. All right. So development of Persona 5 took right around 5 years. The reason for that long production time was that they created an entirely new engine just called the P engine, which is not great. Like P, the letter P, but still. It's made specifically for Persona 5 and has only been used for the Persona games and the spin-off, the Dancing All Night one. So that took up really most of the production time on that, but this game was directed by Katsura Hashino, who had directed nearly every game in the entire Megami Tensei franchise up until then.
This is Persona 5 is their last game, right?
Yes, that was his last game. So Hashino stated this would be his last Persona game, and he looks forward to seeing how fresh minds can tackle that franchise without him around. So he willingly stepped off that series and said, like, I've done what I can do with Persona. So the production staff at the start was only 40 people, which I was like blown away by.
That's
that game. Okay, I can understand why it took so long now.
Yeah, it's like incredibly small for such a large scale game. By the end of development, they had 75 people on the team.
Only 75?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Basically 75 people made that game. I mean, like it is incredible to me that they like were able to do it with such a small staff. So this is a very small staff for a production of that magnitude, but one thing to note that's cool is that Atlus hired, like when they were getting started, they hired Naoya Maeda, I think, as the lead designer who had previously designed Trauma Center and all those games. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
I always forget that Trauma Center is an Atlus game, but you do fight a god at the end, right? So it's an Atlus game.
Oh yeah, it fits in the pantheon for sure. So in 2013, mid development there, Atlus was acquired wholly by Sega for a very small sum of only $133 million. It's crazy to think about like somebody buying Atlus for that much right now, but like at that time, that is, I guess, what they were worth. You know.
Yeah,
it's crazy value.
Persona 3 and 4 were a lot smaller than Persona 5.
They were a lot smaller. Sorry, Will?
I was just saying, if you look at the games now and look at where the franchise is going.
But anyway, yeah. So, sorry, I think we're losing you, Will. You're bouncing out. Oh, your health check is failing.
Oh no.
Hello? I can't hear Will.
Me neither.
I can hear him every once in a while.
It says, I think it says that his like connection is bad, internet connection.
For once, it's not me. Oh, we lost him entirely.
Oh god.
Yeah. He might have just left and restarted. Oh yeah, he's in Mementos. Don't worry about him. Yeah, we'll see if he pops back in. Hopefully. Okay, so yeah, like I said, Atlus was not doing super well at this point in time. They were kind of barely hanging on, and they had actually expressed interest in being acquired by a larger company. And so they kind of opened up an auction for bidding, and Sega came in with the highest bid at about, like I said, $133 million.
It's different, but...
Right, yeah, it was like at about, that's why I said about. It was 14 billion yen, I think, is what I saw.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I translated it into dollars. Yeah, so like I said, these games have all been critically acclaimed. Like pretty much all the Megami Tensei games were very well received, but none of them really could be described as big sellers. So the studios at Atlus were at that point broken down and reconfigured into the amazingly named studio Creative Department First Production.
Okay.
I love their work. Creative Department First Production was going to be responsible for the Shin Megami Tensei and Etrian Odyssey series. P Studio is the second studio that was made specifically to do Persona, and the third studio was called Studio Zero. So Hashino, who I mentioned earlier, who did Persona 5 and the previous games, let me see here. Yeah, I'm gonna see. Try restarting.
Futaba's hacking our system.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. You've been hacked, or whatever. What did she say? She doesn't say that.
What
anyway.
does Futaba say?
I don't know. Like, here, take the speed boost. She doesn't say that either.
We don't know. We don't know what.
We don't know.
Caitlin, you're the one who played Persona 5 the most recently.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you
A
know,
couple years since I
Futaba
played.
wasn't the one I was paying attention to.
Understand. Oh no, Futaba's cute.
I love Futaba. All right. So, like I said, Hashino moved over to lead Studio Zero, and he's currently developing an original IP fantasy RPG called Project Re-Fantasy. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm curious. He said that's going to be an entirely new IP, new world, like a very... He said it was the setting could be described more as like a Final Fantasy-esque thing. It's not going to be set in an urban environment or the real world. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. All right, so the final game of Persona 5 did end up retaining that turn-based combat system, but it's interesting to note that in a lot of the earlier drafts of this game, it was actually live combat that they were trying to pull off.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Will, are you back now?
Can you guys hear me? I think I'm back.
Yeah,
I can
we
hear you.
can.
Awesome.
Hey, you passed your health check.
I love it when that happens.
Yeah. So we're just saying that one of the early design drafts for Persona 5 was actually like an action-based system with some like real-time elements in it. That idea ultimately got scrapped, but like that kind of they kind of wanted to add those like command elements into the battle system. So you can see a few elements of like I don't know. I like with commanding, like, you know, fellow party members and things like that, and setting up, and the baton pass stuff. They wanted it to feel a little bit more active, basically, and like, you know, the one more system. So like that was kind of the idea, was to like, they ultimately wanted a turn-based system to feel like as exciting and fast-paced as live combat, which I think they absolutely accomplished.
Yeah, I think they accomplished that.
So major new addition was the inclusion of the unique dungeons with the locked layouts as opposed to like, you know, the randomly generated dungeons in the previous ones. So this was done like, you know, to kind of give it more of a thematic like cohesion, and then also like they wanted to provide the veteran players with like something totally new.
I think Persona 4 had not randomly generated. Wait, were they randomly generated?
How many floors each dungeon had, and certain things were set, but the layout of the floors could change.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I know there was in Persona 4, there's the big orb with the big tongue. What does he do?
That's a lot later in the game that I can talk to you about.
Okay. So the negotiation system was actually kind of a fresh thing for Persona 5 because it was in the earlier Persona games, but then disappeared, if I'm right.
Yes.
Yes, and if I may share, one of the funniest moments in the series is in Persona 1, the rather interesting translation of one of the negotiation options was mimetically rendered as "Mark danced crazy," and nothing else.
Love Mark. Love his work.
Tear it up, Mark.
So you could get Demon.
Oh, Mark's fucking going over there. Holy shit.
Having Mark dance crazy.
Did it work?
Yeah, so
I mean, there were certain demons that were susceptible to it. Yeah, I mean,
Hell
just
yeah.
like
Which demons
I'm
are
just like how
susceptible?
there's-
It's
If I was
damn,
a
those are some
demon,
moves.
I would be like, oh fuck yeah, look at this dude's moves.
So-
this man will lead us.
Yeah, so instead of how Persona 5 handles it, what 1 and 2 did was each party member had their own negotiation tactic, which could be debating, arguing, flirting, or Mark danced crazy.
Okay, those. That's
an
very
awesome
good to
list.
know. Yes. So, like I was, so the negotiation system, if you're not familiar with Persona, basically, like, think about, I like to describe to people Persona as, like, imagine if, like, in Pokemon you were in a battle and, like, you just, like, told Bulbasaur, like, I think the universe is a great place and we should all explore it. And Bulbasaur was like, yeah, you're right. You agree with my worldview. I think I'm going to follow you. That's pretty much what it is. So, like, what you're doing when you battle these personas, these demons, you can knock them out, basically, or knock them down on the ground, and then surround them. And then there's an option to either do the all-out attack, which is, like, the big, cool, stylish ultimate move, or you can negotiate with them and kind of go through some dialogue prompts. And if you answer them correctly, you kind of have to read the demons' their mannerisms and, like, kind of like their demeanor.
Yeah,
And
how they
see, like-
talk is a big.
Yeah.
Like, some will be
And-
nervous, some will be aggressive, some will flirt with you. They're like people. I mean, they have personality groups.
Yeah. And by you have to kind of read the situation, figure out, like, okay, what does this person want to hear from me is the important thing. It's not like what is the most, like, if they're being flirty, it's not like me flirting back is going to work every time. It's what is this character wanting to hear from me to appeal to them. And if you can figure that out and continue the conversation, then you can convince them to work with you, and then you add another persona to your Rolodex there.
Now I want to say that Persona 3 and Persona 4, actually, the enemies weren't the same demons that you use as personas. In Persona 1 and 2, yes, because of the negotiation system, the enemies that you fought were all variants of personas that you could use. So Persona 5 actually brought that back. In 3 and 4, the enemies were just random recolored shadows. Like, I can't, the thing that looked like a jawbreaker with a tongue. The first enemy in Persona 4.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. I
those
misunderstood.
those aren't personas, but they're just shadows. So you can't convince them to come with you. You just beat them up.
Aw.
Poor
Sad.
Jawbreaker.
But yeah, I think the negotiation system really adds a lot to the series, because, like, it makes you kind of look at, like, each of the monsters you're fighting and be like, do I want one of those? Huh.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Pokemon.
It is exactly like Pokemon. I mean, like, I think everyone has said by now, like, Persona and as 5 specifically and Pokemon share, like, more than a little DNA in how all that works. But yeah, so you guys, we were talking about Catherine. We're back on it. So the original design for Persona 5 was done in the same art style as Catherine, if you know what that looks like.
Yeah.
They designed all the characters that way, and then were like, this is not right. This doesn't feel right. And so they kind of started from scratch and went with a completely new art style. So they kind of did a lot of trial and error. I think they went through like 5 or 6 finalized versions of what Joker's outfit would look like before they picked one. Because they kept like running into the issue of it not looking like something a real person could wear physically.
But I mean, some of the outfits certainly don't.
Yeah.
Some of them might
So-
be
It's a
what
Persona
someone
game.
can
We
wear, but what
expected
someone
that
should
much.
wear.
Right. So the team considered all all their previous, Persona games to be like really fun, and like fans loved them, but they were not well marketed.
No,
So
they weren't.
what they wanted to do was design like a UI in a way that like such that the UI would catch people's attention.
They certainly did
Um,
that.
They definitely did. So that's why they went with the big, the thematic coloring. They've used red, of course, as their base, and they wanted to like invoke this like harsh feeling of like, take your heart, right? Get it.
I remember
Um,
seeing the very original like preview images, and they were these like like very stark inside of a jail cell where you, with like text that said, "You are slave, want emancipation."
Yes, that's what I saw. It was like a chair with like a chain around it.
Yeah.
And it said, "Welcome to prison, jackass."
That was the very first. That was like the year I got into Persona. They announced Persona 5, and then they were like, it's going to be for the PS3, and then it never came out, and then it got delayed again, and then it got delayed again.
You and I were in an 8 a.m. class when they dropped a trailer, the trailer that first revealed Ryuji and An's personas. You and I were in an 8 a.m. class, and the minute the class got over, we ran to the dining hall and just watched the trailer over and over again.
I do vaguely remember that, man.
Yeah, I wish I had known about that before. Like, I didn't actually find out, like, Persona, I guess, existed until, I think, 2017-ish. I think, yeah, when I went to Japan, because I remember that was when, this was late 2017, so they were in full marketing for the Persona 5 animation, like, the TV show, and so, like, those posters were everywhere in Japan.
When I went to Japan in 2018, yeah, the animation was still coming out.
Oh, I lived through Persona 4 or 5, the game coming out in Japan, and it was everywhere. You'd go to Akihabara and Joker is just staring down at you from on high.
Yeah, we went to oh man, I think it was the anime in Ikebukuro. They had like a huge Persona display.
Oh yeah, it got marketed aggressively over there.
And and it is worth noting that only happened because of Sega. Like, if this had still been Atlus as an independent company, we would have probably this game would be nowhere near as large as it is now. But yeah, I mean, I have to say, like,
Joker still be in Smash if it was just
probably
Atlus.
Not. Honestly, I would say no. Yeah, it's interesting because there are a lot of times with these big acquisitions where it's like, you know, it's sad to see less companies becoming independent and like everything just becoming like there's 5 companies and that's it, you know?
Yeah, but, like how animation is.
But like this is one of those things where like the studio was saved by being bought by Sega. Like I think they would have probably closed down otherwise.
And hey, Sega has that good dancing game technology that we can certainly use to make a Persona game.
All we have to do is take the Just Dance meshes and we put the Persona skins on them. And then we just sell it out.
I'm convinced that's how we got the dancing game.
I mean, we might as well have. I love it. I've not played the dancing game. I've watched like the cutscenes from it because I can't stop myself.
I'm
no good at rhythm games, but I've looked at some of the cutscenes and the costumes especially.
Like where like Makoto just starts like crumping. I'm like, yes, more of this content. Okay, so yeah, like I said, the UI was supposed to like kind of find a balance between like user friendliness and style. I remember they actually mentioned that like they had to like tone down the UI because originally it was so crazy that like people couldn't see the screen most of the time.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
I
would actually like to see that version.
Yes,
that should be the extra
that should be like Persona 5 Royaler.
Royal-er. Did you just say royal-er?
Yeah, Royaler.
The more royal.
So the personas themselves, the monsters, were designed. This was very fascinating to me. This is apparently how they've always done it. They would look through literature for weird looking names of creatures, monsters, deities, anything. And then without referencing really like what it was or where it came from, they would just try to draw it based off the name.
Oh, that's really cool.
Sounds like a YouTube challenge, like an art YouTube channel.
Yeah, actually, if that sounds fun to you, you should check out Drawfee on YouTube.
It sounds like Drawfee would do.
That is what they do.
Drawfee has done Persona episodes, actually.
Yeah, so there we go. So this was kind of fun. Sayo Yamamoto, who had previously animated Yuri on Ice, was the animation director for this game. And so she used her inspiration from her own previous work on Yuri on Ice to create the opening.
That's why they're figure skating.
Yep, that is it.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I never make that connection? That's my favorite damn anime.
Oh wow, yeah. All right, I'm happy for you.
That's why they're figure skating.
I legitimately still sometimes just go like watch that opening and just like look at it just like forlorn and like I'm so sad that I can't see this again for the first time, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
So she wanted the I don't know. Okay, actually, maybe you can tell me more about Yuri on Ice, but she's like, I want the Yuri on Ice energy to come across in this game.
Just I think that it's a oh god, I don't even know how to because Yuri on Ice's energy was just really gay.
Yeah, I was about to say. Well, the Persona game could be gayer.
Did
but...
they? Did it?
It could be a lot gayer.
I guess I would say that the like graceful movement of the characters' fighting styles, I could see some of that. Like there's a very kinetic focus, like movement, like the way that you can interact, especially in Royal when you have a grappling hook, the way you can kind of interact with things in the dungeons, the way you move in battle. I do think that maybe she used the focus on motion from Yuri on Ice.
Yeah,
I can flippy in battle.
Anime,
a lot of
so
spinning.
There's not much in.
Yeah. So a very, very important part of this game, and I think one of the primary reasons for its success and mainstream appeal is the music. This has one of the most legendary soundtracks of all time, pretty much up there with like the previous Persona games.
Yeah.
Like Persona has pretty much always like ruled the soundtrack world, but like I think if you asked a large number of people, you'd find Persona 5 on a lot of people's top 10 of all time lists.
Oh, it's got to be up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, remember how happy people were recently when it got put on Spotify finally?
Oh my god, I lost
games,
my
right?
mind.
Finally.
Yeah, all of them. Yep. This game was composed by composed, produced, and performed by Shoji Meguro. What a champion.
Love him.
He did all of the previous games too, so love
Yeah.
him. Love his work. He's very talented,
He's
obviously.
staying, right? He didn't decide
Yeah.
to switch.
Yes,
Oh,
he is
thank
still
God.
on P Studio.
He will never leave the Persona
I feel like
series. They'll have
he's
to
more
pry him
essential to
away.
Persona than Hashino.
I think you may be right on that, honestly. Many of these tracks were done, of course, with the singer Lynn, who I think is a lot more famous now than before. But she's a jazz and soul music singer. She's the one singing on pretty much most of the tracks in Persona 5.
Lynn did a performance at the Game Awards, didn't she?
Yep.
She did, and she's excellent
Yes, it was great. It
performance.
was the best part
What's
of the
y'all's
Awards.
favorite Persona 5 song? Just what's y'all's
Oh
favorite?
yeah, we talk about that. I think Life Will Change is still my favorite just because it's so classic. But like, I really, really love Blooming Villain is also up there. Like the boss battle music. I rock out to that like literally all the time.
Well,
Rivers in the Desert.
I know you're a big fan of Rivers in the Desert. You've made that
I do,
known.
in fact, own a shirt that is just the lyrics to Rivers in the Desert just on the front of the shirt, and there's nothing else on it. Just all of Rivers in the Desert.
I also really
Yeah, no,
like the
I-
ending theme for Persona 5. Am I the only person who likes it? I think I am.
No, that's
How does that
a good
one
one too.
It's
What
just
is it?
it's just the credit song. It's called "The Stars in Us." I think is what it's called.
I'd have to look that up. I
Yeah,
can't call
you'll
to
have to
mind which
look it
one
up.
it is.
My sister's favorite is
so-
"Beneath the Mask,"
Oh,
the
no,
one
that's
that
my favorite
plays
that one's a
too.
good
when
one.
you get home.
Where have you gone?
Yeah, the one that plays when you
You're
get
not
home.
alone.
The ultimate
That's my
rainy day
sister's
song,
favorite.
that one.
Yeah.
That's such a good song. Oh, they're all good. I want everyone to know that a lot of the lyrics were written by a guy named Benjamin Franklin.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Benjamin Franklins are essential to life as we know it today.
I also
Yeah.
want to add a shout out, not an official Persona song, and actually something Elizabeth introduced me to, but go on YouTube if you haven't already and listen to the You're Nothing Without Me duet between Xander Mobus and Robbie Damon as Joker and Goro. It is a work of genius.
Oh wow, that sounds very fun. I will definitely check that out.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
link it to you after this, boss, but like they sang in character. It's a really like old show tune, like little known show tune that they rewrote from the point of view of their characters.
Okay, that's kind of fun. Yeah. So, like, of course, this is one of those memes now, basically, where it's like, wow, this has got some Persona 5 energy, and it's like that's just called jazz music.
Yeah, I noticed. And the people who are like, Why does the new Tweely game look like it's set? It looked like it's Persona 5. It's because they're both set in Shibuya, you idiots!
Shibuya. Idiots. Specifically, acid jazz is the specific subgenre that Meguro used to describe the music of Persona 5. Yeah, so
That's
if
a
you
cool
if you really
band
like
name,
the
too.
music, yeah. And then you could like do like maybe like a different genre though. You could be like a country group. So like, yeah, if you're interested in if you like the music from Persona 5, check out some acid jazz. That might be your jam.
Wait, Will
so
never said what his favorite song was.
Oh yeah, Will, what is it?
From Persona 5.
Mine was chiming in with Beneath the Mask. Beneath the Mask for me was just great.
Okay, no love for Layer Cake in here, huh?
I love Layer Cake. I do. I wrote a 10 Persona songs you should listen to on Spotify, and Layer Cake was definitely on there.
Okay, that's good.
I mean, number one was Rivers in the Desert, but that's because I'm a basic bitch.
Yeah, that's a common quality I find in people described as basic bitches is they love Rivers in the Desert from Persona 5.
No, I'm so annoying about it. You have to ask Tim next time he's on the podcast. Our local science museum has an exhibit called Water in a Dry Land, and every time we go to that exhibit, I just start playing Rivers in the Desert.
Okay, that is good. The music, I found this really interesting. Meguro said that he treated the entire soundtrack as one long song and then split it up into different beats.
That's really interesting.
And so and you can hear a lot of like repeating themes and repeating harmonies and intervals and things like that. And like it's crazy how varied the soundtrack still feels, but it all still feels very cohesive at the same time. You can tell when something is from Persona 5, it's like, okay, I get it. And
another one of the
music...
songs I really like is the dungeon theme for Futaba's dungeon. I think it's called When My Mother Was There.
Yes!
That one's very good.
That one?
Yeah, that one's very good.
Yeah, that's a good one. Of course all these songs are being remastered and remixed for Persona 5 Strikers. Woo! So we're getting new versions of all of these songs, as well as a bunch of new original tracks from these same people, from Lin and Shoji Meguro.
Oh, I need to.
So that's awesome. Yeah. Don't worry, I already did. Oh, yeah. By the way, I'm sorry. I don't know how much I can yell about this because I of course did it, but this is like the worst shit. If you pre-order the deluxe edition of Persona 5 Strikers, you get it 4 days early.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What?
It's worth it.
Yeah, which I did, obviously, but I'm voting. I didn't vote with my wallet, but I'm going to yell instead.
Can you get that on the Switch?
Yeah, it's on all platforms, yeah.
Okay.
Persona 5 Strikers acknowledges that Hokkaido exists, and I'm so happy.
We love to see it.
Hey, I lived there. Whenever games acknowledge Hokkaido, I'm proud of them. You gotta give it a shout out. So,
like I said, this game was a huge hit in the West, made it, won a lot of Game of the Year awards, was mentioned pretty much on every list of best games of 2017 over here. Again, let's just remember for a second that they started production on this in 2011.
And it came out in Japan earlier than 2017, right?
Yes, it came out in early 2016.
No,
late
it was
2016?
because I was actually in Inaba a few days before it came out, and no one would shut up about it. So yeah, I remember that very clearly.
And then the English version came out in April 2017, around there.
Yes, I was still in college.
So yeah, this was people were angry. They had to keep waiting.
Yeah,
which I think we were all experienced again with Strikers.
I lived in a dorm and I didn't have a TV of my own, so I had to go over to my friend's apartment to play it. And we definitely didn't do work sometimes because we wanted to play Persona, which I think we were totally valid.
Very good. You
did not play it for a long time not because I wasn't interested, but one, I didn't have the hardware over in my house in Japan, and two, I got spoiled on a major plot point in the stupidest way, and I was just really mad.
Wait, I don't remember this, Kate. You're gonna have to tell me.
All right,
you're the DM me.
No, this is going in the podcast.
Spoiler cast, yeah.
Oh, right, spoiler cast.
So my fifth graders were doing a project where they had to make a poster of a country they wanted to go to, a thing they wanted to eat there, and a person they wanted to meet. And so we're in the computer room, like, Googling pictures to, like, and I'm helping this one kid who's kind of a slow typer, and he's looking up a picture of Pentatonix because that's who he wants to meet. And
wow,
he types
that's wild.
And he types in pe, and he's so slow typing that it autofills in Peru Sonago. And it does a Google image search, and I see the now infamous picture of the two Goros in the two different outfits, with Goro in his, like, evil outfit and his Loki persona, months, like, before the game was out in English. And that's how I got spoiled on Persona 5, because my stupid kid, it wouldn't type fast enough.
Type faster.
Oh, man.
That's very good. I played Persona 5 in, I think, summer of 2019. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, so 2 years ago-ish. Yeah,
I played it right when it came out.
Oh, okay. Wow, big shot over here. Some of us didn't know it existed when it came out, so...
Well, whose fault is that?
Japan.
That sounds like a you problem, not a me problem.
Yeah, but I got so hooked into it, and it took me almost 3 months to beat this game because it is so fucking long.
It is, and if you really want to focus on, like, everything, it takes a really long time.
Yeah, I think my time clocked in at like 95 hours.
I don't remember my time, but I know what happened for me was my sister and my friend and me, we were all playing it at the same time. So my sister was playing it on her own because she lived in Raleigh, and me and my friend had a shared file that we were both playing, and we had to split that file. We had to clone it because she was able to play it. She took her PlayStation with her, and she finished her file while I was at home. And I had to. I remember I was up at my sister's apartment for an anime convention, and I finished Persona 5 that weekend, and it was a lot to take in. I did all of the stuff it was basically everything past Sae's dungeon, all in a weekend. I was like,
that's insane.
Oh my god. I want to point out, Goro Akechi was my favorite character.
I used one of those guides that, like, gives you every day in the game, and it's like, this is what you do on this day, and this is what you do on this day to have, like, max stats. And
see, we were playing before those guides. Those guides came out, or either that, or we didn't want to look them up in fear that we found spoilers.
Yeah, but I remember this game so much for being like, I think this is maybe the first time since, like, I had played Breath of the Wild that I, like, actually got completely, like, sucked into a game and, like, lost my whole life. I just, like, I still have my notebook here where I have pages and pages of diagrams of me, like, trying to plan out Persona's growths and, like, figure out, like, okay, this is, like, how to optimize this one. I didn't use any guides.
Well, at least you were allowed to choose the skills you wanted your personas to inherit, because my sister and her friend did that in Persona 3, where you're not allowed to choose what skills your personas inherit, and it's just a random assortment. And it took them 3 hours to fuse the persona they wanted.
That's disgusting, and I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. No, like,
no, I'm on the bus. I went to a boarding school for high school. I went to essentially Hope's Peak. We're not going to talk about that.
What? Sorry, what?
Yeah, I went to a government-funded. I went to a government-funded school for the elite students in North Carolina. I went to Hope's Peak.
What was your ultimate title?
God, I don't know what I would have been. I was like,
what did they tell you? What was it? How did you introduce yourself to everybody?
You know,
hey, the Danganronpa podcast is another day.
Yeah. No, I have to know what your ultimate ability was.
I was probably like the ultimate fucking loser. Like, I don't know. I was not like, of all of the kids in my friend group, I was
has taken a bold new direction.
But I was on the bus going to a shopping mall. We were in Durham, and they didn't want us walking anywhere because Durham's kind of a dangerous city. So we were, actually, no, Durham's not really a dangerous city, but that part of Durham was. So I'm on the bus, and I get a phone call from my sister, so excited that she finally fused a Thanatos that had X, Y, and Z skills in Persona 3. And I was like, how long did this take you? She's like, it took us 3 hours. I was like, oh my god.
Persona 5 really did it with the quality of life improvements.
Oh yeah, the Persona
Yeah.
fusion is so nice.
It is. I love sticking my beloved Pokemon into the guillotine and chopping their heads off.
It's like when you take a gummy bear and you bite the head off and then you stick the head onto another
Yes,
colored
that
body.
is
That's basically what
that's
Persona
exactly
fusion is.
that's Persona 5. So Will, I think you're back with us. When did you play Persona 5?
I played it last year, basically. So I think most of us was late to the Persona party, and I kind of played it.
Did you
along
play
with
Royal?
My brother. I am playing Royal right now, so I'm going.
I
back
haven't started
through it.
Royal. I bought it though because I have a PS5. I haven't started it yet though.
Everyone play Royal, the new social link guy. It's so cute.
All I know is I love Maruki. He's baby.
He's so cute.
I'm like that game like exhausted me so much. Like it is such a time commitment.
And you also
Royal.
get like super into it. That's part of the exhaustion. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I remember
I will play
frantically
Royal one day.
reloading saves because we messed a day up and like didn't get a social link rank up when we needed it.
I watched my sister play some of Royal while I was visiting her in March, and I saw the just the one like, additional day that they did, the like trash pickup day where Maruki does the Salt Bay thing.
Yeah, because he's the best.
I was like, okay, he's my favorite new character. Like,
Roy. I guess we probably should have said Persona 5 Royal is, I guess, best described as a director's cut edition of Persona 5. It basically just adds a bunch of content throughout. A lot of it sprinkled throughout the game, much like Maruki sprinkling the salt. But most of it is sort of at the end there.
Yeah,
there's a new third semester.
Yeah, they add in that third semester.
And I will say, for those of you who like optimization like me, the third semester makes it a lot easier to do. We did wind up with several playable days at the end of the game where we really had nothing to do because we'd maxed all of our social links, maxed all of our stats, we finished grinding out mementos, so it is definitely a lot
Guess I'm
less.
eating another big burger.
No, I already eaten all the big burgers. I caught the Guardian in the like little like manufactured fishing pond that Ryuji takes you to, just because we had so many extra days.
I'm the person who works at the manufactured fishing pond who put the Guardian in there. So, congrats.
Wow, I did zero fishing. Oh my god.
I don't think fishing was in normal. I think it was in.
No, it was. You could go with Ryuji to that like weird
I never did.
pond or whatever. The
Ichigaya fishing pond. It's a very real place. I've been there. It's a fully manufactured pond where they dump fish every day, and you like sit around with a bunch of old men who are like smoking and drinking beer, and you fish. But then you have to like toss your fish back because they belong to the fake pond.
Oh my
It's
god!
amazing how
Sounds
they
like the
managed to
greatest fishing
collect.
experience.
It's amazing how they managed to collect just so many things I hate and put them all together in one
And
box.
for some goddamn reason, that is like how Ryuji likes to spend. Like, I love Ryuji, I do, but why does he
I
like to?
I think Ryuji's a secret boomer. Yeah. So, what was I gonna say? He's pretty old fashioned in his ways, I think. Yeah. So, basically, at this point, like, I'm hoping we haven't lost everybody yet with our just screaming, but. Like I said, Persona 5 was a huge hit. So between that and Royal, they sold now 4.6 million copies. So good. Respectable JRPG numbers. Pretty good.
Okay, yeah. That's more about what I was expecting to hear.
Yes. Now, for reference, across all editions, Persona 4 sold only about 2 million copies. But 500,000 of those came on Steam after just like a month. So
Wow.
people were, they said that was actually the fastest selling JRPG on Steam, if I remember at the time, sold
That's
500,000 copies in a month.
To be fair,
So-
it was 2020 and everyone was looking for something to do.
Yes, that is correct. I mean, even I bought it without the intention of playing it right away too. Like I was like, I gotta have this. Because they finally released it from its PS Vita prison.
Oh yeah, my sister bought a PS
Yeah.
Vita to do Golden. And I know she bought it used and her PS Vita like doesn't charge right or something.
Yeah, whatever. So, let's kick this off. Will, what is this game about? Sell me on it. You have 30 seconds.
I mean, it is the combination of fighting supernatural monsters and managing social life without getting anxiety or killing anyone. So, I mean, That'd probably be my 30-second pitch.
Bold.
It's kind of confusing to go beyond that.
And I got anxiety.
Oh dear.
Okay. Nice. Kate, what's your pitch? Go.
It's a great story, and there's enough characters that you'll probably like at least one of them.
What a good solid sell. Elizabeth, what do you have?
Do you like the idea of a power fantasy where you get to prove people wrong in like the best way possible? And do you like Pokemon? If so, Persona 5 is the game for you.
Go buy it today. My pitch for this, which is how I was pitched on it in the first place and why I picked it up, is that this is the ultimate simulator for living out your childhood fantasy of being a superhero.
Yeah, it's you're a superhero. You have Pokemon. Yeah.
Yes, you are by day a mild-mannered student going to school, doing your fucking laundry, hanging out with friends, fulfilling social obligations, doing your homework, and at night you and your friends put on your fucking superhero suits and you dive into the metaverse and you save the world. And nobody knows who you are and nobody can know. It is the perfect superhero game. And that is exactly what it is. And like there aren't like in Spider-Man games, like I'm not looking forward to being Peter Parker, right? But like in this game, like the social link stuff and like just going around and like fucking calling somebody on the phone is like somehow like just as fun as like actually going through the dungeons.
Yeah. You know, hanging out at the aquarium with your friend.
Yes. Come to the aquarium. Let's go eat at a cafe and just look at this piece of cake.
Let's go eat this fucking massive burger.
Eat the biggest burger. It's bigger than your head, it is.
It's bigger than your cat.
It's bigger than your cat.
Have a cat who tells you to go the frick to sleep every night.
Yeah.
Oh,
go
man.
to sleep. I love those memes of like Morgana just like holding a knife, like time to go to sleep.
My friend has a shirt. I don't
Change for
remember where she
Royal,
bought
actually.
it. One of my friends has a shirt that's like Morgana, and it's the different like, you know, the UI in battle where it's like fight, item, persona.
Yeah.
All of those are like nap. You must be tired. Go to sleep. It's getting pretty late. It's like all different like ways to say go to sleep.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Will, what were you saying?
No, I'm just saying for Persona 5 Royal, maybe the best change they made was they slightly, I think, toned down how aggressive Morgana is about going to sleep. So they slightly pulled back on go to bed now, please.
Yeah, they gave you more things to do at night in Royal.
Yeah.
I remember when I watched my sister and her friend play it, they were like, "Oh, we can actually do things. We can hang out with the I don't remember what social link he is, the politician guy." She was like,
Yeah.
"Okay,
Oh, yeah.
now we hang out with him at night." And I was like,
Whoa.
"The cat's not telling you to go to sleep?"
Oh, he still does. He very much still does.
It's a suggestion now. So I want to talk about like the themes of this. Like, I mean, like I think the main theme. One thing that for me, and you can see it in the games that I like the most, they are games that find a theme and then they build around the theme. Like this game is built all around the theme of there is no justice unless you make it. Like that is kind of the whole point of the whole thing, is that it is an exercise in learning what the justice of the world is like and then learning to create it yourself and when to not create it.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's really awesome. So like, does anyone have any thoughts on like other themes and like kind of how they play into this and how they're handled?
Building on that, what I would say is I just think everyone who plays this game is gonna find something to relate to in these corrupt adults, these corrupt individuals that the Phantom Thieves take on. Whether you know it's a corrupt politician, it's a sexual harasser or assaulter, whether it's, you know, a mentor who isn't maybe on the up and up, whether it's the loss of a family member, every single player of Persona 5 is going to find something to relate to in what the Phantom Thieves fight against.
Yeah, I think we have all of us at some point in our lives have experienced some injustice of the world, like especially when we were children. Like you looked at something happening and you realized at some point that this was wrong and that there was nothing you could do about it, and it hurt you.
But Persona 5 says you can do something about it.
Yes,
Kick
that's
their
exactly
ass.
what it is.
Do
That's
it.
the great part about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
you
can
look
do something.
flashy while you're doing it, and you're like, this is
And you
everything
look
I want.
And you and your friends get to put on cool costumes and go kick people.
Yeah.
I mean, the game starts with this very real, very raw situation where there's a teacher who has too much power in the school system, who abuses students, and the school system lets him get away with it because he brings in results. And it's the first couple minutes of the game, you feel so powerless, and the game says, hey, do you want the power to fix this? And you're like, hell yeah. And the game says, well, here it is.
The beginning of Persona 5, I think, is actually probably the best part of Persona 5. Yeah. I have some things I want to say about Persona 5 and how the game progresses, but the beginning of Persona 5 is so powerful and so, like, it was so... You see these students and they're all, like, they all have a different horror story about this teacher, and you're like, I want to do something to help these kids.
Yeah. And like that's great. I think it's scaled extremely well and paced well, because it starts off with something that, like, where you, the player, are like, this teacher is like sexually abusing the students. Like, I'm gonna fuck this guy up, right? And like, you do that, and you're like, you feel the satisfaction of exerting the justice that the system won't exert for you. But then, like, the characters in the story, you know, as you would if you were a teenager, get in over their heads.
Yeah.
Like, it is what would happen if you were in high school doing it, you know, too. It's... Yeah.
They're still kids.
Yeah, and that is important to understand when they make the decisions they do, is that they are children. Like, they have not had the experience that, like, even people, like, you know, we're in our 20s, like, have had, you know, just...
They still gotta go home and do their homework.
Yes.
Gotta study for your exams.
So, yeah, I guess let's close up on, like, Persona 5 Strikers is really exciting. So Persona 5 Strikers is a sequel to Persona 5. It is basically, it is literally just a second game in the series with different combat, though.
Yes.
So it does use live combat. I have been, from reading the reviews and such, I have gathered that it is not really a Muso game as much as it is sort of just a live combat, like hack and slash with RPG elements. It looks like it falls much more towards like Bayonetta or something like that. But like the fun of it is apparently in the elemental advantages and character switching and stuff like that. So like other than the combat, literally everything else is just like Persona 5 again. And this story takes place 6 months after the end of the first game. So yeah, I am really excited. I'm so stoked that like one of my favorite games of all time is getting a sequel. I'm so excited. And Elizabeth, you mentioned some of your issues with this game. I have to say, just real quickly, I only have one real one, which is the fucking cruise ship. Fuck me. Throw me on a stick. Kill me. The cruise
ship takes a really long time.
The cruise ship is 10 hours longer than it should be.
Do you have to be a mouse?
Do you want to be a mouse? And then do you want to do it again 78 times?
You know, it's the only dungeon where we have that feature, except for the one time the one enemy can maybe turn you into a mouse, and that's maybe.
So what were some of your gripes, I guess, with this?
My real gripe is about actually the character writing. Because I think all of the characters are really strong and really well done, except the fact that they try to jam them all into the Persona 4 tropes. And you know, I know only Kate... Will, have you played Persona 4?
Not really.
Okay, so it's only me and Kate who know this. That was my main problem with it, because Ryuji and An were so well written in that first chapter. They both really stood out to me. They had their own beliefs. Ryuji was this guy who saw who was abused, but also saw his friend getting abused by the same person who hurt him. It was like, I have to do something about this, and I don't care what it takes. And then after that dungeon, they made him herder. I'm so stupid. Women are just like tools. They basically made him a misogynist. They basically made him Yosuke.
You never want to go full Yosuke.
They basically jammed him into the Yosuke trope, and then kind of jammed on into like the sexy girl, even though her whole beginning story was about how she was being sexually abused, and she didn't want to be like that anymore. And then they were like, no, let's just make her sexy girl. And then they also tried to make Mona and Ryuji into how Teddy and Yosuke were in Persona 4, but they didn't set it up as well, so it ended up not working, and it ended up having a lot of people either hating Mona or hating Ryuji by that time that they were having the fallout in game. Because Teddy and Yosuke have this kind of like older sibling, younger sibling dynamic, where they will like riff on each other a lot, they'll be mean to each other, but it's not really like how they actually feel. But they try to do that with Mona and Ryuji, and it doesn't come off that way. It doesn't quite work out that way. So my big problem with the game is actually that they kind of did their characters a disservice by trying to make it like Persona 4, because Persona 4 did so well. That was my major problem with it. I really love it, but I think the fandom does a better job with the characters than the actual writers of the game did.
One thing to that effect, which I did forget, I totally like. I did not notice this at all while playing the game, and that's my own fucking fault. But I watched a video on this later and just like had my mind blown about like Makoto's personality changes pretty much by the minute to whatever it would take to make her the most attractive at that moment to you.
Yep.
And like
that sounds about right.
Yeah, and like I felt so like shitty because like I had literally did not notice, and I was like, oh, I fucking love Makoto, right? Because that's what they wanted. But like after kind of like seeing that, I was like, okay, this character is like 9 characters. Like reel it in, guys.
And like the thing is, all of the characters are the strongest in their introduction arc, and then once they come out of that chapter, they're kind of reduced to like a tropey kind of thing. Like Yusuke's reduced to the weird kid, right? He's like Yukiko.
But we love how weird he is, though.
I love how weird he is. But the game gives you so many options that are like, be mean to him because he's weird. And you're like, no.
Sorry, Kate, what were you saying?
I think that Persona 3, 4, and 5 all have that issue because of how the game is structured.
I just noticed it more. I just noticed it more in 5. With 3 did a really good job because you know how in 5, once you get the characters to their max social link, they get a persona upgrade, and it kind of shows how like their personality changed over the course of their social link.
Yeah.
Persona 3 actually has that built in game. There are certain events that happen in game that cause the characters to awaken their personas, so you get them all at different points.
That's interesting.
But that also lets you show the character's growth and how it affects them in the story rather than only in the social links. Because, like, you know how it is in Persona 4 with Yosuke, where you're like, Yosuke sucks. Like, he is the worst. He's a misogynist. But then you do his social link, and he gets better. But then you don't, you know, because the game doesn't know at what point the social link you're on by the time you're doing the story. So then it's like in the story, he's never gone through that change.
I understand what you're saying. I will say that from the reviews I've read, that Persona 5 Strikers does rectify a lot of that because it shows the characters like different people right from the get-go. They have like learned from their previous experiences in the last game, and they are different people than they were before.
I hope that's the case because I feel like Ryuji kind of was the worst about it. Ryuji got done such a disservice. I love Ryuji. Ryuji's my sister's favorite character in Persona 5. And the game just kind of threw his character out the window after that first powerful arc where he was like, I don't care what happens to me. My friend is in trouble and I need to stand up for her. I don't care if I get expelled.
I agree. I agree with the story thing being a little different. I do think that at the end, like, where like at the cruise ship part where like Ryuji does like, you know, in like with the intent of dying, like sacrifice himself to like help everybody is like sort of the result of that character arc developing.
But then then when he comes back, everyone's like mean to him instead of being like we're so glad that you're back, Ryuji. We were so worried about you. What is that? What was that?
I really think a lot of this though is that these characters are high school students, and I think we're viewing them. I mean, everyone on this podcast is adults, and I think we're viewing them through an adult lens, whereas high school students are dumb little idiots. They're changeable.
Yeah, I'm trying to apply rationality to their
There's
thought
no
process.
But
rationale.
yeah, that was my main.
Analyze these these high school characters as if they were adults.
Yeah, I mean that just the story kind of manipulating the characters' personalities to fit what they needed at the time was my big kind of problem with that was like my big issue with Persona 5, other than the transphobia and the homophobia, which every Persona game has, which hopefully will go away now that we have a different head writer.
That would be cool.
But
I also want to. Quickly, who had everybody romance? Because I definitely romanced Tifumi, and
I
she was
didn't
my
romance
favorite.
anyone because I'm
Everyone.
You suck. I romanced everybody.
The everyone option is possibly the most fun.
I did it. I did the everybody option.
Oh, you did it? Oh, wow. Was it? Did you feel good on Valentine's Day?
I deserved it. Real question though, what
I knew I was a piece of shit. I did deserve that.
what dumb things did y'all name your protagonist? Because I was a nasty crime boy.
Oh, I did the same thing I do for every JRPG, which is 2 words: Dyna Max.
Oh, I like that.
So our protagonist, me and my friend's dual file, his name was Corvid Edge, I want to say, like the word for crow and then edge. And I
So
want to
edgy.
say my sister played Persona 5 in an apartment with other people who walked by when she was naming her protagonist. And she was like, guys, what do you want to name him? And her roommate was like, he looks like a little white boy. You need to name him Brett with 3 T's at the end. I don't know why that came in. I think they mistyped it. And then they're like, no, it's perfect. We have to keep that.
Yeah, Brett
And his
Brat.
last name was Brit Brat. So he was Brit Brat Coon.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Brit
Coon?
Brat. We stand. We have
That's
no choice
actually
but to
right.
stand Brit Brat.
Yeah, we must. Okay, so let's close out with our traditional question: are there enough ghosts in this game?
Wait, how did we get through an entire podcast about Persona 5 and no one talked about Goro and Ketchy?
Because I'm scared if I talk about Goro Akechi, I will go down a rabbit hole.
Oh yeah,
Because
I have a note here to
my
talk
sister-
about.
My
Yeah.
sister and my friend can tell you that day I finished Persona 5 in their apartment, I was just sitting there like, this is bullshit. This whole thing's bullshit.
You know what?
Akechi don't
Actually,
deserve
no.
that.
Kate, no, Kate, this works out. Talk to me about the ghost Goro Akechi.
Now, I
Wait,
think
do you know what's really hilarious about you saying that? I have a Goro Akechi keychain that I bought while I was in Japan, and we went to this cafe. It was like a themed restaurant, but not like an anime themed restaurant. It was like themed around Japanese ghosts, where we went in and one of our friends got like a Japanese funeral. He sat in a coffin. We got these headbands, in like anime when you see like it's like the Japanese like ghost, like the spirit marking headband. And I had that tied around my Goro Akechi plush just as a way to bring it home with me. For like a year, so he was like a little ghost.
But no,
What the fuck are they doing over there? What are you talking
It was
about?
great.
Goro is a great character. Like,
Okay.
he's not super well written I think his writing is improved in Royal. I'm just gonna say,
Yeah.
I love that dumb meme boy. He is my favorite character. His
He's my
voice
favorite
actor
character
is
too.
my favorite voice actor. And my favorite Persona 5 meme is someone like angrily posted on a forum, stop talking about Goro, but they misspelled it Gru. So so me and my
Yes.
husband exclusively refer to him as Gru Akachi.
Oh, I love that.
But-
Sorry.
Also, fun fact, Goro has possibly one of the most, like, obvious names this side of Remus Lupin. He is named for both the literary detective character Kogoro Akechi and Akechi Mitsuhide, who is a historical figure who stabbed his lord and is basically associated in Japanese history with the concept of betrayal. If we were to give all the characters English names, I would make Goro Akechi somewhere along the lines of Benedict Arnold Moriarty.
Okay, I understand now. Yeah, so Akechi, I think I had the same reaction that pretty much every streamer that I've had, which is that Light Yagami? When he, like,
Yeah.
No, I love
when
Goro.
he comes on the screen. No, I think his character was pretty interesting. I thought that his ending was like not as. I think they thought the writers thought his ending was more dramatic than it really was.
Play
I guess if that makes
Royal.
sense. Yeah,
Like,
I
was
would love
not
to.
happy about his ending in.
But we'll see him.
when
We'll
I
see him
played.
again in Strikers.
Hey,
So-
He's in
Nirav,
Strikers?
no.
He's in the trailer, but it's him in the metaverse. It's not like him in his real body. So I don't know how he's coming back, but he's coming back. So keep an eye
Nirav,
out.
can the post credits of this podcast just be me saying that Persona 5 Royal has a post credit scene?
You just want to, yeah. Okay, could you give me a clean take of that?
Persona 5 Royal has a post credit scene. Please watch past the credits.
Okay, thank you. I think we got that. All right, let's. I don't want to run too long, so let's get out of here. Welcome everybody to Time for Games. This is going to be our game today. We are playing Persona or a Person. Huh?
Okay.
Huh?
I like it.
Huh?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So
okay.
what I've done here is I've gone back through the series. So these could be from any of the Megami Tensei games. And this, what I have here, I'm going to read you a name and you're going to tell me, is this thing a Persona or is this just somebody who worked on Persona 5?
Okay.
There's a lot of them that kind of toe that line pretty well. So what I want you to do sort of when you hear a name is sort of imagine Joker like yelling it in that way. So like for this first one, we have Daisuke Kaneda. So just think about like Daisuke Kaneda. Like, what does that sound right?
Yeah.
Is that a
Yeah.
person or is that a persona?
I think that's a person.
Yeah, that's a person.
That's someone's name.
A lot of these are someone's name, bud. This one is a person though. How about this one? Nobuyasa Ushio.
Person who works
It's
on
a
Persona
person.
5.
It's a person.
That is a person. Okay, all right. How about this one? Toby Kato.
Persona.
Person who worked on
What?
Persona 5.
Person.
That's a persona. You don't know Toby, the persona?
No, I don't know Toby the Persona.
Okay. I tried to get some international people too. So I've so just so you know, there are some non-Japanese ones I pulled from like localization teams and
Toby
stuff.
the Persona.
My new favorite.
Wait,
love him.
which Persona game is Toby the Persona from?
Toby Kato is from Persona 2, I believe.
My Persona is a Toby from The Office.
God. Okay, that'd be very good. Okay, how about this one? Damien Mugakos.
Person! Please tell
That's
me
a
that's
person.
not
That's
something.
I know you
person.
think it's a. I know you think it's a person. Okay, that one is a person. How do you feel about Marshall Tunpeng? Marshall? You know Marshall?
Is he a
Marshall
persona?
the Persona?
Marshall is a persona.
What?
Marshall
Toby and
Tunpeng is a
Marshall.
person.
In which
Toby.
Persona?
Toby and Marshall.
He was from one of these are all from the earlier ones. So I wanted to make sure they weren't ones you'd heard before.
You're right. I certainly haven't heard these before.
Yeah, for sure. How about Miho Obara? Or Miho Obara? All right. Oh,
Be a
now you're
persona.
thinking.
I want to say person, but I've said person for every single one of these. So, persona.
I'm going Persona
Uh,
just for the shout.
Yeah. This one is a person.
Damn.
How about Sarutobi Sasuke?
That is a persona! That is a persona!
Oh, you know that one? Ah,
No
fuck.
one is named that!
Okay. This persona is named that.
Well, that's a
My
stupid...
persona is Sasuke. It's just
It's just Sasuke.
just Sasuke himself, huh?
Okay, how about Kundali Vidrajaja?
What?
Persona?
Or is that just an Indian guy?
It could just be an Indian guy.
Could be, just be an Indian guy.
I'm gonna go with Indian guy.
That one is a persona.
Damn!
Kundali Vidrajaja.
I'm sorry Indian people named that.
Yeah. How about Valerie RM?
That's a person?
Valerie
Yeah,
RM.
persona.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
I'm
What are your
gonna say
persona
that's a
senses saying?
person. I'm gonna
That
say
one's a person. Now, what this is our last one here. What do you think about Robin Goodfellow?
Persona.
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 That's freaking.
You know
Puck-
Robin?
That's
Aw,
Puck
damn.
from Shakespeare. You can't even. That's Shakespeare. Just
Damn it. I
get
just
your
looked at
Shakespeare out of here.
that one is definitely a persona. I just kind of like lost my goddamn mind. I was like scrolling through this list. I was like, Robin Goodfellow? That's just a guy.
He's a good fella. He's just a good fella.
He's just a good fellow.
Actually, so there are third tier personas in Royal, and like one of them is just named Diego. So like you can have a persona. Oh wait,
I also saw
third
one.
tier persona is William.
I also saw one that was just named Michael.
That's an archangel.
I figured it was, but like I was just like, no, this is Michael.
Just your persona, just your personas hanging out in the classroom.
I
guys
would
remember
play
that?
a Persona game where all the personas were just like white office dudes.
I want to play a Persona game where all of the personas have the human names and all of the humans have the persona names.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody, I remember from an old podcast from Cool Games Inc. They had a discussion about like an old Persona game, like it's just Persona, but it takes place in a retirement home,
Oh my
Wait,
god.
did someone do
and everybody's
Golden
Arcanum
Girls
is death.
Persona? Isn't someone hacking that?
Maybe.
I believe you. I don't know about it, but I believe you.
No, if you play Royal and you get Ryuji all the way up to his third tier persona, like literally in battle, he'll be like, "Go, William!
Go Diego, go!"
Is that the episode title?
That might be the episode title. Okay, let's close out. So I'm sorry, I typed too fast and I wrote "closey" as the timeline stamp.
That's also a persona.
Closey.
That could be. Like, seriously. I'd believe it.
I just always think about, like, sometimes I just like want to yell like "Saki Mitama," like apropos of nothing. It's fun.
Go, Diego, go!
Okay, let's close out. So thank you guys for joining us today. Yeah, we are. You can find us at GameLuster.com. You can find us on Twitter at GameBustersPod. If you want to throw us any suggestions about games to cover, anything like that, or just see some good memes, please follow us there. So yeah, you can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/GameLuster. So yeah, thanks to our guests for showing up here. So Kate, what are you working on right now? What's going on?
You can find me on Twitter at derletztentance, and then my husband and I are also doing a YouTube series where we talk about the real-life locations behind video games, and we will be doing a Shibuya episode in the future.
Yeah, the console tours is like really fun, actually. I'm enjoying it.
We're currently going through Hokkaido as portrayed in the Pokemon games, but we are going to have Inaba and Shibuya episodes for the Persona series.
Nice. Okay, Elizabeth?
I'm not really working on anything right now. I've been playing
working on yourself.
I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Minecraft, which I can't even say is like a good thing. But you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Punsona with a 0 instead of an O.
Yeah, there we go. Punsona 5. Look for it soon.
That's what it's
Will,
from,
what
actually.
about you?
No, I don't really have anything good to plug right now. I mean,
Okay.
likewise, I am burning through a game right now with 5 Royal, but yeah, hopefully I'll come up with something interesting. I mean, if people can come up with persona names like these, I should be able to come up with something interesting to talk about.
Kumail Nanjiani!
So.
That one might just be a guy. Okay. Yeah, so I am working on a video. Of course, I'm still working on writing the script because it's 7 pages long now of my magnum opus, which is a sort of teardown of literary structure and narrative history as a whole using Shadow the Hedgehog as a medium. And that video is going to be up. It'll definitely be up this month. I don't know when. Well, I also have a video I did with my friends called "Let's Make a Chelsip," where this is very cute, by the way. My good friends Ryan and Chelsea, who are married, Ryan has a hobby, I guess, of going into various video games with character creators and trying to make like the most like looking replica of his wife, and then making her do horrible shit in the game. So like. So I sat down with Ryan and Chelsea, and we went into Fallout 76, and we made a Chelsip, which is her evil twin's name, and we took it out into the world and started doing some heinous things. So look out for that soon. That's going to be up this next week. So yeah, I think that's probably it. But yeah, hit us up at GameBusters Pod. You can hit me up at Gondizi on Twitter as well. So I think, Kate, you brought Junko, right? So you won the Hall of Fameluster?
Yep.
We are trapped in jail with fake fucking Igor or whatever. What's his name? Is it Igor?
It is Igor.
Okay. We're trapped in jail. Can you please speak the catchphrase or incantation that we can use to get out of here
Sure.
and get back to eating the big burger?
So to everyone listening, remember to fight the adults, take heart, stand up against corruption, and enjoy some delicious pancakes.
I will.
Persona 5 Royal has a post-credit scene. Please watch past the credits.